So as we mentioned, pretty much in JavaScript, everything is an object. And for arrays, strings, numbers, and Booleans, you do not need to create them using the keyword new. Normally, I wouldn't say normally, but in many languages, you have to declare them using the keyword new in order to use the methods. In JavaScript, you do not have to do that. You will have access to all the array methods without telling it that it's a new array. It's going to look at the data type, it's going to recognize that it's an array, and you automatically have access to all of the methods. Same goes for strings, numbers, and Booleans. So you do not need to use the keyword new when you are creating them, and you really shouldn't use the keyword new because it basically complicates your code and it is going to slow down the execution of your program. And there are no benefits to using the keyword new because you're going to have access to all the methods anyway. As far as recognizing an object, well, obviously, if you have created the code, you are going to know if something is an object or not. So the problem comes in when you're working on a team and somebody else has created code and you don't have access to that code. Okay? That is when it is important for you to be able to recognize an object. And there is a type of operator that will tell you if the variable is an object or not. So here we have a variable called fruits. This is an array. And if we do type of fruits, it should indicate that we have the array object. So here we've got the example. You can see we've got type of fruits here. This is in blue, okay, because it is a keyword. And what it is printing is object, because an array is an object. Did we use the word new in this? No, we did not. Okay, it recognizes that it's an array and that it is an object without our having to put the keyword new. And scrolling down here, built-in objects. So built-in objects are defined in JavaScript. They have methods that you can use to interact with the browser, the web page, the different data types. Built-in objects fall under 3 categories: browser object model, the document object model, or global JavaScript objects. And in upcoming weeks, we are going to be learning a lot more about all of this. But for today, we're going to give you a little introduction. The browser object model includes windows, navigation, history, location, type of browser, and screen information. We will be working with these in upcoming weeks. If you are kind of curious, you can get a little preview now by clicking on the link. So far, we have used alert and we have used prompt. Okay, and those are methods of the window object. Confirm is also a method of the window object. Okay, so you can do window.confirm or just confirm. Usually, the confirm box displays a yes or a no answer. Okay, if you would like more information on that, you can go ahead and click the links. Document object methods. So far, we have looked at write line. Its counterpart here is write. The difference between write line and write is that write line gives you a blank line after your text, and write does not. Okay, that is the primary difference. And you've kind of already seen how you can put HTML mixed in with text. All of that is considered a string. You can concatenate that with variables using the plus operator. So basically, anytime you're going to write out a different data type. So at first, we're writing out a string, and your HTML is considered a string. And now we're switching to a variable. Okay? When you switch from one data type to another, you have to concatenate. And we go from variable back to string. And again, we have to concatenate. Now, the concatenation operator, in most languages, it's a plus sign. That's what I remember, that's what I use, but JavaScript also allows you to use a comma. Okay, so the comma is also a concatenation operator in JavaScript. And here's just another little example of document.write, indicating document is your object, write is your method. This one is actually got 3 different variables that are being written. And I believe it's using commas in between, and then we've got a couple strings. So we did look at this example earlier, and in the example below, the only difference is we took the alert statement and we switched it to a document.write line. Okay, so this is now in the body, and we've got customer data with some properties. We've got the document write line. So we've got the HTML and the text. That is all part of the string. Our data is changing because we go from a string to an object and a property. So we have the concatenation operator. We go from that object and property here to another string. So we have the concatenation operator. We're going from string to basically object property. We've got the concatenator and so on. So you can kind of see how that works. We change the properties and basically do the same thing again. And I did mention this before, but when you use document write or write line, you have to be in the body of your HTML, and you're basically going to have that script tag wherever you want the text to be written. Okay, so if you have a heading like listing of favorites and the text should go below, that's where you're going to put your script tag. So that was document.write and write line. In the 180 class, we did look a little bit at get element by ID. So this is also a method of document. And so here we have a little interactive JavaScript for you. Okay, so you can basically click on this and change colors. And so here is the code. So in the HTML, I have given the paragraph an ID. And then in the JavaScript code, I've got a variable called new color. And you'll see that I've got get element by ID favorite color dot value. So here is my input tag. Okay, I've got the ID of favorite color, and it's taking whatever value we pick here, storing it in new color. And then here's my paragraph. So my para1 ID. And I'm using style.color, setting it to whatever color they have picked. Okay, so I've got my input tag here with the fav color ID. And I've got the para ID. So we're selecting the color here and setting it on the text. Okay, so that is get element by ID. It lets you target one specific area in your HTML. So JavaScript also includes global objects. Global objects have methods and properties you can use. Probably the most useful ones are array. We will use that a lot. We will also use math, and we will use date. Okay, those are the three most useful, and we will be using all of them. So to get an idea of the math methods, you can click on the link. The one that we will be using for games is the random number generator. Okay, we will be covering that shortly. Not this week, but in upcoming weeks. The date object is the only one that you have to use the keyword new with. The other ones do not require it. And there are lots of different date methods that you can take a look at if you click the link. Okay, so we've got new date. We got the date in milliseconds. We've got a date string. You can see we've got all sorts of information there. And there are try it yourself buttons throughout. And you can see here we've got all sorts of different date methods. You click on that. Pretty much they all start with new date, because you have to have the current date or a date before you can use the methods. So this is just going to give us the current date, and then we're using that current date to get the day of the week. Okay. And so if we run this, today is, it's 12:04 a.m., so I am on Saturday. So that is why it is showing a 6. And let's see, going back. Okay, so those were the globals, and we will be using them throughout the course. The next video is going to quick talk about errors.